Hey all, so we've been getting a lot of questions about rotations as you can imagine. Should I pick this rotation X at a hospital or should I do this rotation with the preceptor Y? Which rotation will help me in my interviews? Which one will have more impact on my ERA CV? So all these questions, and we thought we'll just sit down with you and give you our analysis of the top 10 factors that'll help you pick the rotation and make a very informed decision. Of course, this is based on our experience working with hundreds of IMGs and Caribbean applicants every year, helping them with their rotations, with their ERA CV, with their application, interview prep, discussions with these attendings, and various programs. So we wanted to share those insights with you. And of course, this applies to both the electives and the externships. So electives are when you are still a student, that's when you do those rotations, and externships you do after you have graduated. So it applies to both. And just as a side note, we've been receiving a lot of requests to do more frequent YouTube videos, live events, more activity on Instagram. So we followed your advice and you'll see us more active on some of these channels now. All of you know that the US clinical experience are a key component of your match strategy. But how do you pick the type of rotation? So let's discuss these factors one by one. So we have identified 10 most important factors that can help you make these decisions. But do understand that each profile is different, the constraints of each applicant may be different. So not all of these may be applicable to your situation equally. And these factors cannot be considered in isolation. They're not in any order of importance because even the importance can vary with the applicant. So the very first factor is the affiliation, what type of hospital or the program it is, what is the prestige of the program. The name really matters. Rotations at programs that have residency programs are a big deal. Why? Because if you do a rotation there, the chances that you will get an interview for the residency in that program as well as in the surrounding locations or surrounding hospitals is very high. Then you may be asking, what about the prestigious programs like Hopkins, Mayo, Cleveland Clinic, where you may not have the chances of getting interview very high. So those, you may not get those interviews. Should you still go for it? And the answer is yes. Name really matters. So these names will shine on your ERA CV and impress the programs as they're reviewing your application. Now, what if you don't get these rotations? These are not easy to get. So in that case, you can consider the clinics or the physicians who are affiliated with these programs, and they may be offering you clinic-based rotations. Many of our students have done it. In fact, these physicians may even call the residency programs for you, and that may help you in the long run. Many of these physicians in clinics, they access the same EMR system as the affiliated programs, the hospitals, and they may even take you for rounding at these hospitals. So it can turn out to be a win-win situation for you if you don't get direct entry into those hospitals for rotations. The point is, if you have a clinic rotation in, say, North Dakota, not affiliated with any residency hospital, that's not likely to help you in the long run. The second factor is, of course, letter of recommendation. Many of you, most of you actually will look for the letters of recommendation. However, the standardized templated letter of recommendation is hardly of any use. What you are looking for is a very personalized, customized LOR which is waived. Pick the rotation where you can get such LOR. Of course, all these things cannot be taken in isolation, like I just mentioned. For example, many of the top programs like Cleveland Clinic, Hopkins, Harvard, Mayo may not even give you the LOR. Should you still go for these rotations? Yes, like I mentioned in the previous point, sometimes the name will trump the LOR. The third is the letterhead of the LOR in case you are going to do rotation at an affiliated clinic. So the letterhead really matters. If you end up doing rotations at a clinic, make sure to assess whether the letterhead is a clinic letterhead or the hospital letterhead. Many of the attendings will actually give you the hospital letterhead where they are affiliated. Again, these letterheads matter, so consider that seriously when you are evaluating your options. The fourth point is the learning you will get out of these rotations. You want to pick a rotation that gives you very strong clinical skills, the clinical experience. It should refine your critical thinking. You should be able to get some training around evidence-based medicine. How do you make decisions in a data-driven way? So those are important things. Strong rotations will also give you one critical piece, which is patient counseling, patient interaction. This is a key skills that programs look for as they are evaluating your application or as they are discussing with you during the interviews. Now, many of our partner physicians also focus on case presentations. So you are expected to do case presentations, multiple case presentations on a weekly basis, which is a very good skill to have. Some of the other aspects you have to look for in this learning is access to the EMR system, working in teams. So all these will really, really improve your experience in that rotation. The fifth one is the type of rotation, whether it is an inpatient rotation or an outpatient rotation, and whether it is a telerotation or an on-site rotation. So obviously, inpatient rotation has its own advantages. However, with the pandemic, inpatient rotations may not be very easy to find. So if you're getting inpatient rotation, consider it seriously. Of course, most of the inpatient rotations should be on-site. Now, for outpatient, you may have various options. Telerotation has been growing in the past season, and depending on the type, even telerotations can work. So telerotations, I'll give you the two wide spectrum. One is where actually you interact with the patients on Zoom or many of these video channels. You actually do it the same way as you would do on site. You prepare the case, you plan for the patient, you discuss it with the attending, so on and so forth. And the second is, on the second side, is the didactic based telerotation. Here there is a lot of stress on how you decide on what treatment regimen to follow. Evidence-based medicine is big here, and case presentations. So both these strategies have their advantages. So depending on what you have, you need to consider these. The next one, which is the sixth one, is the specialty specific rotations. This is actually a big deal. So if you're applying to IM, for example, try to get rotations in IM. We have seen these mistakes happen over and over again. Applying to IM with a lot of pediatric rotations, for example, is not going to help you in your residency application. If you have to apply to multiple specialty, plan well in advance. Typically 3 to 4 months in a specialty will really help you. So that is a big factor to consider, the specialty specific rotations. The seventh factor is the fee you end up paying. Now, of course, many hospitals have a standard fee structure, whether it is the elective or the rotations that you do. Those fees are standard. There is not any negotiation in these kind of fee. However, the challenge comes when you are going through some of these companies, like even our company helps you in rotation with the affiliated clinics. There are students who will pay $3,000 for the same rotations, and some students will pay $1,500. So do your due diligence, because some of these companies work differently. How we work is we pass on all the discounts to you. You pay the physicians directly because we have negotiated bulk discounts with the physician. Of course, we have a registration fee, but you don't pay us the fee for rotation. So look for the fee structure as you are considering these rotations, because the fee can make this a lot of difference for the same set of physicians that you go to. The eighth factor is the location. You may not realize it, but it is quite important. Locations on the East Coast and Midwest really help, because this is where a lot of residency program across the specialties are located. And if you've done rotations in these regions, the programs will pay more attention to your CV, everything else being equal. You're unlikely to get far if you have rotations, say, from an IMG unfriendly state, North Dakota, I'll pick again. The good news is, with these telerotations coming up, many of our students, for example, living in LA or Seattle or Portland, have been able to do these rotations on the East Coast, Midwest, and that has really helped them getting those interviews, the programs on East Coast and Midwest. The ninth factor you should consider is the diversity of the experience of the location. First, you don't want to write the same kind of sentences in all your experiences. I took history, physical, I rotated with this physician, went to the morning rounds, all that is fine. So look for diverse experience. If you've already done, say, an inpatient rotation, probably look for outpatient, look for primary care experience. If you've done a stint in cardiology, look for GI rotation. So the diversity of experiences is important. What is also important is diversity of locations. Don't stick to the same clinic. You may have other constraints like your family constraints, but try to see if you can move around, if you can get rotations in different cities. That will really help you. The location part can work both ways, of course. So let's say you have rotations in only Michigan. So you become a very strong applicant for a Michigan-based program. However, you have to understand that when you are applying for, say, New York programs or some other programs, they also like to hire locally. So your profile for them may not be as strong as for the Michigan program. The 10th factor and the last factor is the research. Now, many of the physicians will allow you, as part of these clinical rotations, to do some kind of research. It may be some case reports or some other kind of clinical research. Now, these can be useful if you have no research in your profile. Again, some of our sites, for example, are pilot sites for Eli Lilly's COVID-19 testing. So those physicians can help you with research. So that's just one example, but if you are getting those options to do research along with your clinical rotations, you can kill two birds with one stone if you need. So think through that again as an important criteria, because research is becoming important in your ERAS CV. So these were some of the factors, 10 factors that we wanted to highlight that can help you decide on your rotations. Let us know what you think and if you missed any factor. Stay safe, stay healthy, and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, and we'll be sure to keep you updated on the latest about a USMLE match. Good luck.